So who knows? He could be a guy that has a pretty significant role. I think you got to start with Tyler Thompson, one of the guys that's a holdover from last year. 148 snaps a year ago, including 2 starts for the team. But he had just 5 total tackles a year ago, did not have a tackle for loss or a sack. This is a guy that I think, redshirt freshman a year ago was still very light in the keister. I think they've put on a little bit more weight for him this offseason. I think he's a guy that, believe it or not, we're not really talking a whole lot about him. We're talking more about the transfers with Vilbert. We'll get to McCoy here in just a second, that Carolina got out of the transfer portal from Penn State as well. But this is a guy that's a holdover on this roster. There are few of them. There are very few of them, especially on the defensive side of the ball. But this is one of the guys that I really do think could make an impact this year, now that he has a little bit more weight on him and is in his 3rd year in the system.
Yeah, I think that's something that you look at and say, I think he's poised, because I think his body's ready to be a difference maker on Saturday. And this is going to be, I think, a guy that we can identify that, okay, he stayed, could have left, but, obviously was valued enough to play for Bill Belichick and his son. And then with what they're able to do with his body, that sounds kind of weird saying that out loud. But,
when we're talking offensive and defensive lines, we're talking bodies and butts. We're talking everything.
But, I think he's another guy that I think will benefit in a change in philosophy and a change of how he's getting prepared to play, and then what he's going to be asked to do on Saturday. I don't know what the production's going to be. I don't want to set the bar too high, but can you go in there and can you make a difference? Can you make a play or two whenever you're being called upon? And I think that's kind of something that Belichick has preached, is about all these guys being ready to play. I had a chance this morning. We had Brent Renner on the morning show at WFNZ, and he talked about just the professional attitude that's already been established. They're 11 days into camp. They're 9 days into camp. I remember exactly which one it is, but he said, he was at practice last week, and he said it's noticeable. It's not something that we're just talking about. When you go to practice, you can feel that. Is this a guy that, being in a much more professional environment with what's being asked, required, and demanded, is going to bring the best out of him? And maybe he becomes a guy that Carolina is counting on more than maybe we initially thought when he decided to not transfer out of the program and Mac Brown got fired and Bill Belichick got hired.
Yeah, and when I said 3 years in the system, I meant more 3 years in the college system, putting more weight on his body. But I think this could also be a system that, is being brought in by Stephen Belichick. This scheme, I think, could work better towards what he's looking to do. And I think that was the thing, was that Carolina wanted these smaller edge rushers when they brought them in out of the high school level. And it seemed like that was something that they valued, was bringing in these quicker edge rushers that could get after the quarterback. Well, the thing is that just didn't really translate. I wonder now, being in a system where physicality is demanded, physicality is the name of the game. I mean, I asked Thaddeus Dixon about it. That was the first thing that he said. And he said that even back in June when the media talked to him, the first thing that he brought up was being physical. I wonder if this offseason, the change in mindset, if that's really paid off for a guy like a Tyler Thompson, and if that is something that could allow him to succeed more this year.